guys, welcome back to another episode of Diving In Deep with me, Sara Evans. This week, we're joined by the incredibly talented Alana Springsteen. Alana is a rising star in country music, and she's taking Nashville by storm. We're going to dive into Alana's story, her creative process, and what's next in her career. It was such a great conversation, and now I feel like I've known her forever. She's super open. You guys are going to love it. So please download the episode and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Alana, thank you so much for being on the pod. Did I say your name right or is it
You did.
Alana?
No, you got it.
That just gave me a heart attack. Alana, thank you so much for being on the pod. We don't do any like professional intros. We just start talking.
I love it.
So how's it going? You said you had a write today, so you must be exhausted.
Actually, no. I find that unless it's like a grind, you know, you're a songwriter too, so you get this. Like some days feel harder than others, but today was just like really inspiring and creative. And I was writing with people I love, just like friends.
Did y'all get a good song?
We did. It's a banger. I'm really excited about it.
Those are the best.
I kind of have like a process though, where it's funny. A lot of people will be like, how is this even possible? But I'll write and then they'll ask me, what did you write today? And I'll go, I literally can't remember. Like part of me wants to block it out to have some space and then come back to it with fresh ears. So I can like have an unbiased like opinion of it, just a first listen. I don't know if that's just me. Do you find yourself doing that?
No. And I just had my son on the podcast and we were talking about that. And I hate every song I write right after I write it. Like when I leave the writing session, I'm like, I hate that song.
Right.
But then I go away and have, you know, fresh ears, come back and I'm like, no, it's actually really, really good.
Because what they don't understand is you've been listening to it for like 5 hours.
And you just created it.
Right. It's a baby.
It's a baby.
It's a fetus.
Yeah. And also, like you said, you can't remember it.
It's true. It's true. I feel like you're just so in it. And when you walk out that door, it's just like,
what did I write?
That's done. What even just happened?
What just happened? Yeah. I mean, there are times where you're like, you know, I absolutely remember it. I absolutely love it. This is a hit, da, da, da. But yeah, for the most part. But I have always been exhausted after writes.
Really?
What do you mostly write? Lyrics, melody, what?
I feel like my strong suit is melody.
And mine is lyrics.
Okay. Well, we should write then because we would definitely work very well together.
Because I get so tired of my melodies because I'm like, I feel like I'm just writing the same damn melody.
You go for the same like notes and the same
patterns.
I do. Got you. Yeah. I feel like everybody does to some extent though. Like, and that's kind of what makes an artist special is when they have a unique like signature thing where they're like, I know exactly who this is.
That's right. Totally.
But yeah, I feel like I usually walk in with like a concept, like something on my heart that I know I need to get off my chest.
Yes.
And sometimes it'll just be a title. A lot of times I'll come in and I'm like, I'm kind of hearing it do this. I just, I find myself starting songs a lot on my own and then going, oh my God, I know who I need in the room to like really make this special.
I love that. Yeah. Don't you love it when you get a great idea and then you put in notes and you know that you're going to the session and you're confident with your idea?
It's the best feeling. That. It's the best feeling.
Yeah. The worst feeling is going to the session with nothing. I got nothing.
But I will say, like, it is a horrible feeling because you're like, guys, I'm sorry today. Like, sometimes I'll just be straight off the road, like having literally 5% in my tank going, guys, I don't know what we're doing today. Thank y'all for being here. I'm sorry. I'm at like 0.
See, that's when you don't schedule a writing appointment is when you're coming straight off the road.
Fair. Yeah. Again, though, like writing fuels me. Like sometimes the only thing I want to do when I get off a really hard run is just create. Like that's the reason I started when I was like 9 years old, writing my songs and just finally being able to speak my truth and in a way that helped me get these emotions off my chest and make sense of what was going on in my head and in the world. Like it just was healing to me and it still is to this day. Like, so sometimes even when I'm tired, that like fuels me in a way that I need.
So what is your truth? Like, who are you? Where do you come from? And what do you need to get off your chest?
What a question. I've had somebody ask that question to me before. It was actually Liz Rose.
Really?
And we ended up writing the title track to my last album.
I love that. I love Liz.
I love really deep questions like that. I mean, so starting from the beginning, right? Like I'm from a little town in Virginia Beach called Pungo.
Okay.
And it's such a part of who I am. It's so woven into my fabric.
Yep.
It's this like crazy cross section between surf culture, like beach culture, and farm culture.
I love it.
So like I grew up 5 minutes from the beach, and right across the street from like horse farms and cornfields. And it was a small town, so everybody knew everybody.
Yep.
Both my granddads are pastors. So I grew up like in church singing, and
Love it.
that was just my life. My family and my faith are the two cornerstones of like who I am.
Yeah. Same.
But growing up too, like I always felt a little bit different. Like I have 3 brothers and really didn't like want to be outside like playing, or a lot of times I would find myself at the grown-ups table like trying to have deep conversations and like, or just in the like in my room writing songs. I just felt like an old soul from a really young age. And
Are you
kind
the
of
oldest?
I am the oldest. Yeah.
That's part of the reason why.
Does that check out?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I think so.
Yeah, because you kind of have that like maternal thing.
Yeah, you're kind of one of the parents.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I felt that way.
Yeah.
At least. But yeah, like I just noticed growing up that I kind of wanted different things for myself and had these crazy big dreams about like traveling and just like pursuing something that I was passionate about. And I think when you grow up in a small town, a lot of times that can be like, oh, what? Like, what do you mean? You don't want to just like go to college and like get married and settle down.
Yeah.
Which nothing against that. Like that is such a beaual life too. And I think if that's your purpose, then
getting married and settling down, I hate college.
Did you go to college?
Hell no. Well, okay. I went to college for 11 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
11 days of college. What happened?
Days.
What happened in 11 days?
Well, like you, I grew up in a really small town, mid-Missouri. I grew up on a farm.
Okay. I love it.
There have always been 1,200 people in my town.
Okay.
Ever since I can remember. And there were 35 kids in my graduating class. We just went to my nephew's graduation and there were like 18 kids in his graduate. So it's getting smaller. Yeah. Wow. Which so is our population. But so that's probably why. But I started singing when I was 4 because I have 2 older brothers and 4 younger sisters. My brothers were taking guitar lessons and I would start singing along with them. And then our parents realized like our kids have musical talent. They put us on stage, and because they wanted, I think, for us to, you know, be able to get out of this small town and do something extraordinary. Yeah. They both were huge music lovers. And so we were the Evans family band. We traveled all around the state of Missouri. And then we became the Sarah Evans Show. Duh.
Girl just took over.
Duh. I mean, because I was the baby with my 2 older brothers, you know, for 4 years until the next sister and the 4 more girls came. Oh, wow. So I was the lead singer of the family band, even though all my siblings have the same amount of talent. But the college part, I got a full ride scholarship to go to Central Methodist College in Fayette, Missouri.
Okay.
And nobody in my family had gone to college. Wow. My mother and father, you know, were high school sweethearts. They got married when she was 18, he was 19. Then when she was 19, she had my brother. That's what everybody did.
Totally. It's not that different from my parents. I mean, they met in college, had me at like 20.
Right.
Which
totally.
I always think is crazy. But at that time, it really wasn't.
It wasn't. And I love it. I mean, you know, I would have had 10 kids if I could have. But so I got to college and I hated it because I didn't grow up. It was kind of an expensive college. So a lot of the people there were rich kids. And I grew up very poor. Yeah. And I just hated it because I was like you, an old soul. So I didn't vibe with the college scene. I either wanted to move to Nashville and become famous or get married and settle down. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. So Nashville it was.
So my brother and I each saved $1,000 and moved to Nashville. And we got this crap hole apartment on Briley Parkway.
On Briley, wow.
On Briley Parkway. Because, you know, when you move here, you don't really know. And back then, it was like, well, Briley Parkway is kind of close to Opryland.
Exactly.
And the Grand Ole Opry. Totally. So, you know, maybe that's where we should live. But,
I love it.
Then I ended up moving to Blair Boulevard, which was a much better area.
Totally.
Do you know where that is?
I don't. What
it's
part
right
of town
off of 21st.
That? Okay. Gotcha.
It's right by that hamburger place.
Girl, you should know something about me. I am very, very directionally challenged.
Same.
Like I truly have lived here for like 10 years now, going on 10 years.
No, I will map to get home tonight.
I still don't know like areas, and I feel it's embarrassing, honestly.
No,
but it's just
I
like
will
me.
literally put my house in maps living here.
See, the other thing is like it's changing so much. Like since you moved here, since I moved here just in the last like 9 years, like it is growing. I feel like there's new buildings downtown every day. I don't recognize my own.
Every day. I mean, like I woke up this morning, there was a new shopping mall in my yard. Like,
which I love. Now there's an Aloe. So like I'm going to be bankrupt.
Where is that?
It's in the Green Hills Mall. You're welcome. I'm sorry.
Don't tell my girls, please.
I keep it on the DL. I got it.
Yeah, do not tell them because they do have access to some of my credit cards.
Oh, gosh. I love that, though. I love that your parents were, like, so supportive. It reminds me of my family. Like, my mom and dad, God bless them. Like, when I was, like, 10 years old, I was like, Mom, Dad, I want to go to Nashville. And, you know, I didn't know, like, a ton about the city. I just knew that, you know, a lot of my favorite artists got discovered here. And it's kind of where you needed to be if you wanted to be a country music artist.
Absolutely.
Which was all I wanted.
Yeah.
So they took me here for the first time when I was 10 years old. We got in the car, literally my parents and my 3 brothers, and they kind of were like, okay, a little vacation, like, let's go. But let's also let her like maybe co-write a little bit and like meet people and see what it's about. So I did. Like I got here and I met like Bart Herbison at NSAI, and I had my first co-writes, and I just fell in love with it. At 10 years old, yeah.
That is so amazing.
It's crazy. Like at the time, I think because I was such an old soul and like knew this was what I was meant to do, I didn't really like blink. I was like, totally, I'm just going to walk in and like take my ideas and we're going to write a song. Yeah. But at 10, like it's pretty wild. I'm like, what were they thinking? Like walking in with like this little 10-year-old and her guitar, like, I want to write a song called Fairy Tale.
Now, could you play the guitar well at 10 years old?
Totally.
Yeah,
I could.
Awesome.
Like I obviously.
So you must be a badass musician.
I mean,
you can brag.
I hate talking about myself. I hate it. But I love playing
for an hour on the podcast.
I love playing guitar. Like it was one of my first loves. And I wanted to be good at it. You know, I feel like the more that I've learned and kind of stretched my skills and grown, like the better I can write because I'm not limited.
Right.
And it's the reason I picked up the piano too, because people were like, you're going to write so much different songs on the piano than you do guitar. True. And it is true. Like, and I'm so grateful that I have those tools to help me.
Now, do you write a lot alone?
I do. I think.
Is that depressing?
It's not. It's therapy for me.
Okay.
I don't finish a lot of songs alone because I'll notice I'll write a chorus or whatever and I'll get excited and then I'll take it into my write the next day. Okay. I just love collaborating. Like I think the co-writing process is so beautiful to walk in and like sometimes meet people for the first time and come out with this thing that didn't exist before that you made together. Like that's just so surreal and it feels like a miracle.
And you feel like you become friends. Like you've never met them. You spend 3 to 6 hours, you know, writing a song with them or whatever, and then you're friends forever.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so cool.
Like that connection is wild. And I think that's something that I fell in love with about Nashville and how I knew this was my path is that I related to co-writers and songwriters more than I had to anybody. Like I finally felt like I found people that spoke my language and like were passionate about what I was. And that was it for me.
I love your voice too. Your voice is, you know, I like it because you're not over singing. And I hate over singers.
you know, it's funny you say that because I think I've even taken steps beyond that with this album. I think I kind of listened to stuff and went, oh, if I sang that again, I wouldn't do it that way.
What's the name of the new album?
I can't say yet. It's not out. I'm writing it. I'm in the process of creating it. We haven't announced it.
So what's the name of what I listened to today?
20-something was my debut album. That dropped last year.
And how did that do? How's that going?
I mean, it's been a whirlwind since that album. I released my first couple EPs when I was like 18, 19, 20. And I was independent at the time, like just had a publishing deal, development deal, and was writing songs and trying to find my voice and like my place in all of this. You move here and you realize you're not the only one like trying to do this. And as you're on this journey of like finding your place in the industry, there's so many voices of people like telling you, you should do this. Like, you're really good at this, chase this. Like, you should write a song that sounds like this. And as a people pleaser, Like that's my personality. That's my
Same.
core. So I found myself early on going, okay, try this. Okay, try this. And I'm grateful for that because it allowed me to like narrow down and go, okay, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. This is it.
Yeah.
And I had to get really good at like listening to my gut and learning when to tune out other people and when to trust somebody and like just keeping your circle small of like who you let those voices be in your life.
Now, were you able to grow up singing on stage and having bands like as a teenager or preteen?
Yeah, to some extent.
Okay.
Like,
because that helps you a lot.
For sure. And I grew up in church, so that's a little different. It wasn't really like me singing my songs, but that's kind of was my first love of like being on stage and in front of people performing. And then from there, like I would go out and play anywhere I could like, as a kid. Like in Virginia Beach, there's not a ton of opportunities, especially when you're underage and can't like play at bars.
Right.
So I would try to find.
I did in Missouri. Maybe Missouri is just like
no rules in Missouri.
Yeah.
Missouri, you can like keep it on the down low.
Yeah. Just tell her to hide her beers at 11.
I mean, I
picking your own music is, you know, like that helps a lot growing up, you know, running bands and stuff.
Yeah.
So do you find that you're now doing that on this new record? You're like,
oh gosh, yeah.
All the voices are out and it's just,
I think
what I want.
I got to the point where I started getting really honest and just did the work to get to know myself and like what do I have to say to the world? Like what's on my heart that I feel is heavy. And if I'm experiencing this, then there've got to be a lot of other people out there going through the same thing. And I just kind of saw that album as my diary. Like when I wrote that title track, 20 something, I started to realize that a lot of the songs that I'd written over the past 2 years fell into these categories of like the journey you go on in your 20s. It's a tumultuous time, right? You're trying to find yourself. You're making a lot of mistakes. You're having these crazy high moments of euphoria and like, oh my God, this is it. And you're just figuring it out. And so I kind of like saw how the songs fell into those categories and broke it up that way. So I released it as 20 something messing it up, 20 something figuring it out, 20 something getting it right in 3 parts. I love that. And took people on that journey with me. And I really found my voice through that album. And I found a community of people that were like me. Yes. That needed to hear it. And I got to go on my first like headline tour just last year. Amazing. I've been lucky enough to go on tour with so many incredible artists. I don't know if you know the band Laney. They're like a pop indie band.
Yeah. Yes.
That was my.
Well, I think I saw them maybe on
my page. I love their music. Like they're forever one of my favorite bands.
Okay, I need to get into them.
I'm gonna make you a playlist. I'll send you some songs. But
are they amazing?
They're incredible and they're great songwriters. And they're actually like Nashville-based. Like went to Belmont, like a lot of that stuff. But I got to go on tour with them right out of COVID. So it was my first real experience touring live. My first time with like a consistent band, like on a bus. The first show was at like Ascend Amphitheater, like right here in town. So I'd like played shows and had experience, but that was my first like, oh my God, here we go. Like this is it. And I'd found a part of myself on that tour that I didn't know was there. I feel like I have kind of an alter ego that kind of takes over when I hit the stage. It's just like this personality that comes out of me and just feeds off of that connection. Right. Because that's really the only place that I feel that kind of connection with people is through music and in an environment like that. So I got to do that tour and then I was out with Mitchell Tenpenny for a while and that was a very different vibe. Like went from playing amphitheaters and stuff to smaller clubs, country audience. I didn't have a band. It was just me and my acoustic for 30, 45 minutes in these rowdy, crazy bars.
Oh my God. Was that intimidating?
For sure. But I also loved it. Like, I think I learned so much just getting to have so many different kinds of experiences and, just the confidence that it built in me too, knowing that I can get up there and do this on my own. Yeah. Now when I have a band, it's like, oh, easy. I'm just having fun. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when you have that experience,
all the pressure is on you.
Yeah. And I'm sure you know what that's like because you grew up playing in bars and all of that too. And you have to learn how to command a crowd and own it.
Yeah. But I've never just gone out with a guitar. You know, I've always like fronted a band.
Gotcha.
So I have a ton of respect for people who do that.
Oh, thanks,
because
girl.
it's just you and your guitar, and if you go to a wrong chord.
And
like,
it's happened.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you just learn how to cover it and keep going and laugh about it. Yeah.
It's just music.
Yeah. And you realize sometimes those mistakes end up being the best moments of the show. And like when people really go, oh my God, she's just like me. Like
exactly.
I'm leaning in, you know?
Yeah. Like if I forget the words or we mess up, I'll just tell the crowd.
Exactly. That's the best way to do it. That's the best way to. I learned some of that from Luke Bryan too. We toured over the last 2 years.
Yes.
That's him
Which
too.
my son was out on that tour with you.
That's right. Because he plays for Connor.
He did.
Okay.
On
gotcha.
that tour. Yeah.
So
he
cool.
played lead guitar for Connor. And I think who else was on that tour? Thomas Rhett.
Yeah.
Was that the one?
I think that was a farm tour.
Okay.
So we were on the Mind of a Country Boy tour.
Okay.
And Country On the year before that. We didn't do the farm tour, but
got it.
It's so funny how small this town is.
Yes.
Everybody just crosses paths with everybody.
Yes. So are you still independent? Are you on a label now? What's happening with this new album?
So I signed my first label deal right as we were going into releasing 20-something.
Okay.
So I had released EPs and things before that, but with this batch of music, it just felt like the right time. And I think something I'm so grateful for is not putting that first, but really giving myself a chance to tour and release songs and find my community.
Right.
So that walking into that label deal, they had a great idea of who I was. I knew who I was.
Yes.
And I was like, here's the music I want to make. Can you help me do this?
Good.
Do you believe in this? Is this something you're excited about? Let's do it together.
Yes.
So I signed going into the release of 20-something. I think it's been about 2 years now. And signed with Sony, Nashville, and Columbia, New York. And it's just been amazing.
That's awesome.
I feel like when you time it right, it just lifts everything.
Yes.
And going into it, I was kind of nervous. I'm not going to lie, because I have a lot of artist friends that were like, girl, be careful. Just take your time.
Right.
It's kind of
just because why? Because it's so different when I got my record deal.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I'm curious your perspective too, because I think now we have so many tools at our disposal, like TikTok, and you can release music anytime you want. You don't need a label to do that.
That's right. But it also brings a lot more competition, I guess, because when I got my deal, it was I moved to Nashville. I became a demo singer. I got a record deal with RCA. We were selling CDs.
Yeah.
So we had, physical objects to sell. So everybody was getting so rich. And
I still haven't had a proper CD made of mine.
Really?
Last year I burned, literally, it was probably illegal. I probably shouldn't, don't tell the label. I literally burned CDs and gave them away at my VIPs because they were asking for physicals, and that's just not a thing anymore. People don't do it.
Insane.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, but yeah, so we, I had this huge, record label behind me that, we had to do the radio tours and all of that. And so much of it, so hard. Yeah. I have PTSD from all the radio tours for sure.
I can't imagine.
But then, you're not having to do all the social media stuff. So it's very, it was that way, I think, from the beginning of people becoming famous with music until social media came in.
Yep.
And, now it's just a different world and nothing will ever be the same.
Yeah.
But you're right. You can release music anytime you want. You don't have to have a label.
Right.
But I just don't feel like it's definitely a lot harder these days to get to make it.
Yeah.
There
is a lot of noise. I think that's kind of it. You have to find a way to cut through the noise.
I remember when I realized I'm not only competing with other country artists or just other artists in general in every genre of music, but now I'm competing with The Bachelorette.
That's a crazy way to look at it.
Anybody who's famous on a reality show. And now it's even more so. as social media started to come in, the pool just got so much larger as who you're trying to, you're trying to get all these eyes on you, but there's so many more people that you're competing with.
It's crazy. I feel like to do this, you almost have to have blinders on.
Yeah.
You have to put your head down and be able to tune everything else out. And blame the optimist in me, but that's just the way I look at it.
Yes.
And I think you almost have to have that kind of blind faith.
Right.
To be crazy enough to do this, because it is hard.
Not forget the music.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say is like the most important lesson that I could have learned was to tune into me and like what I have to say, because everybody's unique and different and has their own path and their own story. And when you do that, when you keep that the focus, like everything else just kind of falls into place.
Yes.
The thing that gets tiring is chasing, going, oh, this works for so-and-so. Maybe you try that. Maybe try this. You just end up wasting energy.
And what you said earlier about all the voices in your head saying, try this. Just, if I were going to give anybody advice, I would say to shut those out.
Yeah.
And just like you said,
Yeah.
You know who you are, what you should wear, especially after a point. Like maybe when I first got here and got my record deal in my 20s, like I was a total nerd and I was like, I'm going to be retro. I'm going to try to dress retro and be like a female Dwight Yoakam.
Oh my God. Wow.
And that just turned out to be stupid. And
was that rooted in like something authentic to you?
No, I just thought it would be cool.
Yeah.
Because I went to LA and made my first album in LA, Three Chords and the Truth. And it was, and Dwight Yoakam's producer and guitar player, Pete Anderson, produced that. So I was like, well, I'm going to be kind of hillbilly country, dress only retro.
Wow.
And then, I was like, no, that's just dumb. You just need a stylist and just be beautiful. You just need to be beautiful and not try to be weird or cool.
Something specific. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it too. It has to be authentic. Like fans can tell immediately.
Yes.
They know immediately when you're trying to be something that you're not.
Yes.
That's not based in reality.
Right.
And that's kind of comforting too, because I feel like there are a lot of people that it's easy to try to be something and say, oh, that looks cool. But the hard thing to do is to just be vulnerable.
Exactly.
Like be yourself.
And it's hard to convince, all the people that are working with you, managers, record label people, all that. Trust me. Just trust me that I know myself.
Totally.
And what I should be and how I should look and what kind of music I should make.
Totally. That's been my guide all the way through too. Like as you're building that team, because you can't do it alone.
No,
you have to find people that get it and that can surround you. And
I was falling in a puddle without my team.
It takes a village. And just making that the focus, not like always going for the biggest name or the most clout, but like
or copying somebody who made it.
Exactly. Finding people that believe, that see you for you and just get it.
That's
and the second I did that and like found those people, everything else clicked into place.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that's happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And, gosh, it's discouraging too, because I've been here since I was 14. So, came here for the first time at 10. Here? Yeah. And we would like take trips back and forth. Seriously, God bless them. I'm so grateful to have parents that believed and like sacrificed and just poured everything they could into it, because I wouldn't be sitting here today without them.
That's amazing. So they picked up their lives and moved here.
Picked up and moved, and including my 3 younger brothers.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just me. Like they had a whole family to think about.
So they grew up in Nashville because of you.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my brother is like, now kind of they're learning to drive the Nashville roads, and like their friends are all here, and this is home base. But
do you guys all live together? Do you still live with your parents?
I moved out pretty much right when I signed the label deal. So that's kind of what I did with my advance. I was like, I'm gonna be smart and not buy a car and like try to invest it. That was my mom and dad talking. They've like flipped houses their whole life. They're in real estate. That's kind of what they've always done.
Smart.
So they were like, do this. Yes. You won't regret it.
Right.
And I'm definitely like an introvert. And a lot of people I don't think would expect that, but I need that time to recharge alone. And, with this life, you're never alone. Like when you're working, when you're touring, like you're always with somebody doing something, being stimulated in some way. So having like somewhere I can protect my peace and my space and just like do my own thing is everything. It's so important to me. So
oh my God, I'm an introvert too. I mean, and I read one time that Julia Roberts, I don't know why it was her. I was reading an article or something, and she labeled herself a famous introvert. And I was like, that is me. Because I love socializing.
Yeah.
But I also desperately need time to recharge because you're always giving away little pieces of your soul to the fans, to, you know, your team that needs you and needs answers, and then everything that you do.
Are you like an empath? Are you an empathetic, like
total
feeler?
empath?
Me too. We're probably so similar.
So similar.
I feel seen right now.
Yes. Such an empath and people pleaser, like you said. And I don't want to ever let anybody down.
Yes. Say yes to everything.
Say
even
yes
when you
to everything.
shouldn't.
Yeah. I want to be the hardest working one.
Yep.
But I also expect that out of others.
Yep.
You know, I don't like when people make mistakes on my behalf. That really bothers me because I'm like, if I wouldn't make that mistake and then you just made a huge blunder on my behalf that made me, you know, I'm really big on communication.
Oh, girl, same.
Yeah.
Keep it honest, to the point, real.
And tell me everything.
Yes.
Tell me everything.
Yes.
I mean, not the bad, like, don't tell me like something you read on Reddit or something was like mean to me, but
totally
tell me everything that's going on.
Yes. You want to know your business
in my career. Yeah.
Yes. I respect that so much. I love that. It's encouraging to like,
but because of all that, you need your space, your time.
Yes.
To recharge.
How do you do that? What does that recharging look like for you?
Spending time with family. Yeah. I mean, just being with my husband and children. And now that all three kids live on their own, like today I've been going all day. And so we'll just go home and get on the cloud couch and eat dinner and watch TV, and we'll go to bed, and we'll get up early in the morning and go feed the horses, which that's a new thing for me because I've always been a night owl.
Yeah.
Staying up late. And so for the past 6 months or so, we've been getting up early.
Wow. How early are we talking though?
7 or 8.
Okay. I can do that.
Really early for me. Because a lot of times we don't even hit stage till 9 or 10.
Right.
And, you know, and so I'm wired, as you know, after the show.
Yep.
But I am finding it hard to balance on the road because I'm getting up too early now on the road where I need to sleep.
Girl, I need advice on this because I'm in the same boat. Like I used to be a night owl just like you. Your story sounds very similar to mine. And then COVID came around and all of a sudden I was like, okay, let me like experiment with like my schedule. And I felt so much better going to bed early
and getting up early.
Yeah. Like I love a sunrise. I love that time to myself. I love a morning routine.
Yes.
Like that piece is everything. But now that I'm touring and like on a bus, like you said, you play late and then you want to sleep in late. Plus, like the bus is dark.
You're wired. You stay
can't,
up late.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what time it is half the time. Like you're just living in this bubble. And then when you come home, you just feel thrown off. So
my advice for you is, so sleep rejuvenates the voice. So you've got to sleep.
Yes.
And so I would just say whatever time you go to bed on the bus, set your alarm for 10 hours later. Yeah. Because at home, it would be 7 or 8 hours later, but on the bus, you're not sleeping great.
Exactly.
So just get up about 10 hours after you go to bed. Like when you go to bed, set your alarm for 10 hours. And, you know, and I never go to sound check. I mean, I don't
you guys are fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm still in that phase where I want to be there. I'm still feeling it out. Like I haven't been on the road a ton. So it's nice to like, no, don't step on this spot of the stage because it's going to feed back. Don't like go here. I also love to jump down to the crowd. So like getting a lay of the land, like I can go here. I can like do that, you know, like playing that out.
So you got to go to sound check.
I try my best.
You got to know where you can jump. Okay. Well, so I would just not worry about how late you're sleeping. But then when you're at home, if you're sleepy and tired and you go to bed, I always just set my alarm for 7 or 8 hours after I go to bed.
Yeah.
you know, and just try to do it like that.
Yeah.
And then make myself get up when the alarm goes off. But on the road, because I sleep terrible on the bus,
Same.
I just make like if I get up too early, I will drug myself and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
On
Whatever
night
it takes.
4,
Yeah.
you've got to sleep to rejuvenate your voice.
100%. Yeah.
You know,
and it's like finding those little things that make you feel at home on the bus too. Like bringing a pillow, and like I have to have my humidifiers now because it's so dry on a bus, like things like that. You just kind of learn over time.
So do you sleep in a bunk?
I do. Honestly, we've been kind of on different buses throughout this year. I haven't had a consistent bus.
Yeah, because they're so expensive.
They're so expensive. It's crazy.
I can't even talk about it.
We're really having a hard time with it right now. Like we're trying to figure it out.
Well, what they have us in, like,
a chokehold.
Yeah, that's a better way.
I knew where you were going, and I saved you.
You saved me right there. We would have had to bleep that out. But yes,
seriously.
Okay. So
it's
when COVID and all that, I feel like they just obviously they had to make up for lost business too. But
so
did we. And so I checked into, like, maybe next year I'll just get another bus.
Yeah.
It's $500,000.
I know.
To lease. Girl. I'm like, why would I spend that money?
And we should just start our own bus company.
Yes.
We should buy one together.
Right. And then we'll take
I don't know where to park it, but we can totally.
We can park it at my house.
Perfect.
We can park it at my house.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll get our who's your agent? William Morris?
UTA. I'm with UTA.
We'll get them together and figure out a schedule, or you can just go out and we'll tour together.
I'm in.
Yeah,
I feel like we're besties already.
We are besties already, and we need to write together.
Yes, totally.
So we might as well be on the same bus.
Totally.
But it's so unbelievable, and then the fuel prices and all of it. Like, it's just,
I don't think people understand like what all goes into it, especially as a baby artist, and
right?
like somebody who's growing. Like,
yeah,
people look at you on big tours and like big stages, and they're like, "Oh, they must be making so much money."
And you've made it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I've lost $5,000 to play this show.
That's right.
To work our butts off today, because we believe in like this is what we're meant to do, and hopefully it pays off. But there's no guarantees, and like it does take a lot at the beginning to make merch, to have like a band out with you all the time, to have monitors like in ears.
Because if you don't work all the time, you can't keep a band.
Yeah.
And the ear monitors, and to have a monitor tech, and to have, it's so expensive. Like, it's not glamorous.
Yeah.
If you're going to, especially in this day and age, it just has to be passion.
Yes.
Passion for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I would so much rather work my butt off and lose $5,000 a night. Like,
something you're
living this
about.
life, something that I love. Like, I'm just so grateful to have that, because I know there's a lot of people that don't have the luxury of doing that. And so I feel grateful every single day I get to do it.
I think that's what people don't understand is you're not going to get rich doing this in the right away.
Right.
Yep. Where I did get rich when I first started because we had something to sell.
Yeah.
That's the saddest part.
Yeah.
Because we were selling CDs. You know, we would release a single, and then 4 to 6 weeks later, the album would come out and you'd go platinum.
So
well,
cool.
Yeah. I mean, and then the whole thing when Napster started and everybody, and I feel like the labels they weren't smart about it, because they should have gotten right in there and did it themselves.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, hey, if we're on RCA Records or Sony, if you want our artist, you're gonna have to stream it from us, and they didn't do that.
They're just behind.
Yeah,
I can't imagine like for you having like, because I started releasing obviously after all that was done, and like they were kind of. I feel like we're still trying to figure out what the new norm is going to be.
That's right.
But it had to have been crazy to experience that and be releasing during like all of that.
It was just the normal way. It was just the way that it had always been done. I mean, like I did the same thing that Patsy Cline did, or that Loretta Lynn did, or Reba McEntire, or Trisha Yearwood, or Martina McBride. Like, you know, so, but I do think there will be a norm that happens. Something has to happen to where artists like you, and thank God you have the passion for it and you have the talent. That's the thing. I mean, you're so naturally gifted. And I truly do love your music and your voice. I listened to you for like 2 hours today.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
No, I promise. And it's great. I really, really loved it. I don't love a lot of music.
I respect that.
And I really love it.
Thank you so much.
So that's what's going to make it for you. That's how you're going to make it, is because you're truly authentically great.
Thank you so much. Was there anything that stuck out to you? I'm curious, because I'm such a fan of your music and I respect you so much as an artist, and just like, I'd love to know like what your favorites were, if anything stood out.
Okay. First, you need to know, just like maps and getting home, I can't remember the names of anything.
I got you. I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No, but it was just more of a feeling. I mean, it was like the first song that came on, and I was like, oh my God, this is so freaking cool.
Oh, I love that.
I love how you don't oversing, and your music is just like funky. It's cool. It's not like anybody else. And it's not, I don't know. I just have such a problem with too much fake energy. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. Totally.
Like when I watch a lot of singers get up, there's no way they are that into it. Like if you see them like that, this has to be a advanced reel. I just looked so stupid. But
that's amazing.
It drives me crazy.
I know what you're talking about. Totally.
Don't do that. Just sit up there and do it if you want. Totally. Do it if you feel it.
Yes. That you can tell when it's put on. You can tell when it's put on.
Yeah, like you said, the fans can see right through it.
The fans, they always do. They always do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think like when I feel like I'm writing about my life, like I'm writing about really personal, like deep things that I'm going through, and it would just feel so disingenuous to me to do that while like putting on a fake persona or something. Like,
yeah, there are times when you can get very quiet. You can be really quiet. Like my shows are so up and down because the song calls for it. Yeah. And also don't let anybody tell you like, go to the right of the stage at this point in the song. That. Just go to the right of the stage if you feel like it. But
follow the energy of the crowd.
Yeah, and you're and you, what's in your heart and in your mind.
I love
like
that.
if you feel like standing there at your mic stand, sorry to run the sound, and holding this for the entire song and singing right there, do that. Also, I would highly advise you to never have counts in your ears.
Really? You play without counts? Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Why?
Because it is so dorky. It's like, if you can't memorize the song.
Yeah.
Not you. I'm talking about the band.
Sure.
And all that. Okay. So I got up and sang with somebody at their show recently. And so they were like, come to the bus. We'll go over it. I think it was either his drummer or his music director, which my music director is my lead guitar player. I'm the music director, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. So we go there. I put headphones on and we're going to listen to the song that I'm going to sing with this guy. And I hear all of a sudden, I'm like, what was that? And I hear 1, 2, going to the chorus, da da da. And I go, wait. Is that going to be in my ears? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, I do not want that in my ears.
Wow, respect, girl.
Because I listened to the song and I learned it.
Totally.
Stop doing that.
No, I get it. For me, we're going to get nerdy here.
Stop doing that.
There's a lot of songs.
I'm not talking.
You're just saying in general.
In general.
There's a lot of songs for me that like, I don't want to just play the song like it is on the record at a live show. Like I want to give the fans like something different, or like a new arrangement, or like a mashup of songs that's unexpected. So sometimes when you're doing those transitions, like you need counts.
No, you don't. No, and don't tune your vocals.
I agree with you on that.
Don't tune your vocals. Okay, if my drummer... Now...
Yeah.
Let me take that back. I know that my band has a few counts, especially on our Christmas tour.
Yeah.
Because we do some really, really complicated songs.
Yeah.
Where the time changes and it'll go to like 6/8 time and then, 2/4 time. And so I realize that they've got some counts in their ears. But just that, 3, 4, coming to the bridge now, or
Right.
repeat the last line.
Interesting. I'm gonna play a
does everybody
show.
do that?
I'm gonna play a show without that just for you, and you might change my life. Because
When
it
did that
does kind of like,
start?
I've always done it. I feel like it's just been like, even when I led
hate
worship
this
in
industry.
church,
I hate this.
they gotta make everything so complicated.
And it's like, if you listen to me,
Yeah.
if you're not good enough as a musician to learn that song,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not have something in your ear saying, now we're going to the chorus,
Yeah.
you need to leave Nashville immediately
I feel that.
and go do something else. Because if I ever felt like okay, for instance,
Yeah.
I have a song on my new record that starts with the acoustic.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say who it was. And I'm not trying to be mean.
Not throwing people under the bus here.
I'm not throwing him on the bus. I hope he doesn't see this. But it wasn't just this one thing. It was a few other things. But he starts on the acoustic.
Yep.
Then the band comes in with a big guitar part. Okay. He started in the wrong key on the acoustic.
Ooh.
So when the band came in, they were in the wrong key. I fired him that night.
Well,
Because
kind of had it coming.
right. You don't do that. Same way if your band has it in their ears with a voice saying go to the chorus, then you need to leave Nashville immediately.
I respect it, and you're not wrong.
Think about
How
all
much
the
talent.
amazing musicians
Totally. Yeah.
that you're supposed to learn that music. Also, how are you ever going to learn it if you've always got that
In the back of your
head?
totally.
You've got training wheels on.
You know what, girl?
It's time to move to the 2-wheel bicycle.
Yeah. This run, I'm going to tell my drummer that I'm
not
going to
doing
tell
that.
my monitors I'm not going to I'm not going to take it away from them because they might just
You tell them you're not going
cry.
to do it. And Sarah Evans said that it is the dorkiest thing ever and that you're not going to do it. And if they want to do it, then they're because that to me is the biggest bullshit. And we're going to be bleeping this. I don't want to be cussing all over this podcast. I'm sorry.
I love it.
But I didn't know everybody was doing that.
Yeah.
I want to know when this started in Nashville. When did this start?
Yeah. I don't know either. It's been a thing.
I'll tell you when it started. It started with a bunch of TikTok people who had a TikTok go viral. Then they came to Nashville. They've never done a show before in their life.
Crazy.
They have one like you've been on stage your whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I'm talking about the one song that went viral on TikTok. So they need that because, but let me just tell you, like my band
Yeah.
is so incredible. They would die if I put that in their ears.
Yeah. Honestly, well done. That's incredible. I respect that. You're just playing music. You're doing what you're meant to do.
Music. How do you not know?
Yeah.
And my songs are hard. Some of my, like Backseat of a Greyhound Bus,
Yeah.
some of almost all of my music is pretty difficult.
Yeah. Complicated show. Totally.
If they needed to be told when the chorus comes, I would be like, get off my bus. You don't deserve a bunk.
Do better, Nashville. Do better. Sarah Evans Camp is hardcore. They are the real deal.
I
love it.
You need to stop that right now. You got to change that.
You're changing my world.
I listen to your music and I see that you are plenty great enough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't need it. I think I've just always had it. So it's like,
who started that?
We should find him. We should find him and kick him out of Nashville.
Okay, I want comments. I want to know who started that.
It is funny because, like, I don't think a lot of people realize that that's kind of what we hear as artists and musicians on stage a lot of the time.
That is rookie bull. That is a rookie move. If you're a musician and you need that in your ears, because also your band's going to be much better without it because
they're playing together.
And they're playing with soul.
Yeah.
And if they don't know that it's time for the chorus, I don't even know what to tell them.
I feel that.
Anyway,
do you have ears?
Oh, of course.
Okay, good. I was like,
but I have nothing in my ears but my band.
It's your band, yeah. Yeah.
No counts, no click. Now I understand my drummer needs a click because I want him to stay in
on
time. I really do want that. But yeah.
We do this thing though, like in rehearsals, we practice without tracks.
Good.
Like, we'll
and
play
we
the
have
show
tracks.
like we have. Totally, we do too. But I think just knowing that you can play without a click, you can play without tracks as a band and
I'm
still
just talking
sound
about that
great.
voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can play with a click, play with tracks, fine with me.
Yeah.
I say that's okay. I'm
just
the new
no
mayor
cues.
of Nashville.
No cues.
No cues. No cues.
Got it.
And I want to know who started that.
Yeah, we'll find them.
We'll find out. But yeah, no cues. You go tell your band no more cues.
Okay.
You're going to
fair
play
enough.
from the heart.
I'll blame you. They'll all be calling you
They can call me.
up in arms.
Play from the heart.
Yeah.
Play as a band and just play music. Did you watch Daisy Jones and the Six?
Oh yeah. Oh my
Do you
God,
think
it's
they
so
had
good.
cues?
Hell no.
Do you think Fleetwood Mac
It's rock
had
and roll,
cues?
baby.
Do you think Fleetwood
point.
Mac had cues?
No,
Do you think John
hell no.
Mayer has cues?
Yes.
Do you think Pino Palladino has cues? No.
I'm actually
way.
curious now. I want to know.
No way.
I
John
wanna know
Mayer
who's doing it.
Your band does not have cues. There's no way.
I'm gonna ask Aaron Sterling. He was
I
on the
know him.
podcast, right?
Yeah.
And you should ask him if they have cues.
If Aaron Sterling has cues, we're not friends anymore. Now, here's the only exception.
Yeah.
If you're filling in for someone
Right. Okay.
and you've never played with them, but still, what is a chart for?
Yeah.
You've got a chart.
Yeah.
The chart says, here comes the course.
Yeah.
So why do you need that voice? It's like, turn left. I mean, I need that for
I was
driving.
gonna say, don't take my voice away when I'm driving.
I need the voice for driving, not for music.
I love it.
It would be like if you're acting and you're wearing ears and
Here's
they're giving you the
coming
lines.
right now.
Yeah.
You're so right. I've never
In
thought
2
about it like
lines,
that.
you're going to say, stop that, Tommy. Like, no,
Have you ever acted before?
I'm terrible.
But have you?
Yes. I'm not going to
Have
tell you
you-
where or when
Please,
because I was
come
fat.
on.
No, I was fat on the movie.
Oh my God,
It was
girl.
during COVID.
That's amazing.
No,
Let's go.
I just recently lost like 30 pounds and I'm not on that drug, but I want to be. But
Damn, congrats, girl.
thank
That's
you. I needed
hard
to.
work.
I went through a hard time in my marriage and I ate my feelings and I drank my feelings. And so for the last year, I've gotten back to normal.
Yeah.
And now I'm back at my normal weight. Like these jeans are like 15 years old.
That's amazing. So what diet do you follow? Do you have like
I just stopped eating, basically. Meaning
You're so real. I love
overeating.
Right.
I've always told my children anything in moderation is
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
So just don't overeat.
Yeah.
Eat when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Like if your stomach's growling and like I haven't eaten in a long time,
Right.
eat.
Dude, can we talk about this? Because
Yes.
growing up in the South, like my relationship with food has been so interesting, like my whole
Same.
life. But growing up in the South, like you have a plate, you eat what's on your plate, you finish it. Like
Yeah.
there are
Which
kids
is-
who don't get food, so you better finish your plate. Like that was
Yeah,
the
I
thing.
don't-
And I know, like, I'm not blaming my parents at all. But like
Yeah.
now I feel like my hunger cues are off because I'm like, I feel the need when I go out and it's a massive portion for
Right.
dinner. I'm like, why do I feel like I have to finish all of this? I don't.
You don't.
I
And,
don't.
and first of all, in America, we have our portions are way too big.
Totally.
The healthiest countries are the countries that eat tiny portions.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And the countries that spend a lot of time socializing with their families.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the healthiest countries. In America, our food is, poison, too much. Mm-hmm. You can eat, too much broccoli and you're going to be kind of fat. I mean, you can't overeat.
Right.
But I think the best way to deal with that, like if you go to a restaurant, you should order whatever you want, whatever sounds good. and then just put half of it in a box and take it home.
Exactly. Yeah, leftovers.
The whole thing about, I grew up on a farm and we had pigs, and my mother strategically, this is a very bad decision on her part, put our pigs right near the clothesline. So my whole life growing up, our towels were stiff and slanted from the wind and smelled like pig.
Shut up.
And I don't feel right unless I'm like drying off and my towel smells like hog. But if we didn't finish our meals, we would just throw it out, the slops out to the hogs.
That makes sense. Wow.
And also there were 7 kids, so we had to fight over food. We never were like,
not bad.
But I don't know. I just think, children are very intuitive, and they are definitely intuitive eaters, and that's what you should be, an intuitive eater.
Yep.
So children eat when they're hungry and they stop when they're full.
Yep.
So I never made my kids finish their meal.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, he's full. He's,
I respect that. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that would be my advice. So here's what we've learned today.
We're solving the world's problems over here.
No more cues. You've got a chart.
Yep.
There's a C. The C means course. Course is coming. Read your chart. Everybody should get one of those mini iPads if they want.
Okay, but here's my thing. I think iPads on stage looks way dorkier than cues that nobody out in the crowd can see.
But you're never going to truly play music if you're listening to those cues. Just like you're never going to memorize the way home if you put it in maps every time.
So this is another thing we've learned. Get lost sometimes.
To find your way home.
Yeah. You'll get there.
Stop it with the cues. Because I don't consider you a real musician unless you're filling in for somebody.
Mm-hmm. So the
real thing you should do is memorize the song.
Right.
But if you need the charts, have the charts.
Absolutely not. So my guys are just going to have to do both. I'm sorry.
Okay. They're just going to have to memorize.
Just going to have to memorize it.
Yeah. Well, why can't they put their little iPad on their pedal board?
Just think it looks dorky. Like on the ground?
They can put it on the pedal board.
Okay. Totally.
Yeah. They don't have to have
just
it on
not
the stand.
Like here.
Yeah.
Where it get in the way of performing.
Right.
That's my 2 cents.
Okay. So now, do you like your band to move around a lot?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. I mean, I love shows where it's not just the artist you're watching.
Right.
You're watching the band and like they're having fun. Like they're going over and like messing with the other guitar player. And they're just like, they look like they're having fun while they're playing. Like I love shows that are dynamic like that.
As long as it's authentic.
Yes.
Right?
Totally. We don't need to do any like synchronized dancing.
No.
Or like anything weird like
Nothing like that. No. I actually tried that once.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, what did they do? Hold on.
Oh, we sucked. It was just like, no.
Did you do like a little sidestep like thing?
Yeah, like we had a somebody came in. I think it was Peter Zavadil, my video director, came in one time and we were doing rehearsals and he was like, "Hey, try this, and Matt, you over here during this part." And I was like, "Nope," because I think my shows are just so real, and so it's so like intuitive, I guess.
Yep.
Is the word.
Yeah.
If you feel like it, do it.
Yep.
Now, I don't like it when I turn around and I see that my entire band is thinking about after show food. I'm like, hello. I'm up here singing like we do My Sharona in our shows. And I'm up there like, jamming, and I turn around and sometimes they will like just dork out. But
I love that.
But I want them to move and play and do everything intuitively.
What a great cover, by the way. That's so fun.
Thank you. It's on my covers album.
That's awesome. I'm going to go listen.
You got to get my covers album copy of that because it's fun. It's fun.
Girl.
Because it's weird songs that you would never expect me
That's
to
my favorite kind of thing, too. Like when artists do something unexpected.
Totally.
Like during the show.
Like we did Come On Eileen.
Yes.
Songs like that. We did a John Mayer song. But anyway, this isn't about me. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left. I want to know what you want the world to know about you. Because we have about 30 viewers. On this podcast.
I honestly, this is one of the first podcasts I've done. So like, I just love
it's growing.
Hanging out.
It's actually doing well.
You just started this year,
We just
right?
started, yeah.
That's amazing.
It's
love
been
it.
fun.
Thank you for having me. Seriously.
Thank you for coming on.
Like, you're such a badass woman.
Thank
and
you.
like, you've paved the way for me in so many ways. And
Thank
just
you.
like learning. Honestly, now I know not to have cues on stage. So you saved my career.
No more cues.
No, but seriously, it's been awesome. But I think like for me, my whole goal with like my music and what I do is just to make people feel less alone.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I know
love that.
for me, like I've been on this journey the past 2 years of like getting to know myself and kind of like healing a lot of things that I didn't even realize were broken, or not even broken, just like learning your triggers and like learning
things that needed addressing.
Yeah, learning how the way you were raised is like maybe still affecting your life and the way you attach and the way you are in relationships. And just the more you know yourself, the better you can be for everybody around you.
Right.
Well, it's not even about necessarily romantic relationships. Sometimes it's about friendships or like how you're just able to show up for other people.
Yes.
And I know I've been on that journey like the past 2 years, and I think I've written a lot of songs about it. And 20 something asked a lot of questions. You know, there's a lot of songs just about finding my place and trying not to be a people pleaser and learning who I am and why are so many of my relationships going wrong. Like I've had a hard time in love and with heartbreak.
Yes.
And
do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 24.
Okay.
Yeah, I just turned 24 a couple days ago. So here we are.
Oh my God, happy birthday.
Thank you. October 18th. I'm a Libra.
Okay, my daughter is October 6th.
I love that.
Yeah.
My brother's the 7th. So a lot of October
Wow.
babies. I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm really excited about this next era of music because where 20 something asks a lot of questions, I think this next era is a lot of answers, which is awesome.
So you asked yourself the questions and now you're finding the answers.
Yeah, which is so empowering and just, I feel like the most confident version of myself that I've ever been.
Yes.
And I can't wait to kind of take people on this journey into the next chapter. And I hope they find the courage to do that too, you know, and maybe learn something through my song, or maybe just feel a little bit less alone and what they're going through a little bit seen. Cause we're all going through the same stuff, you know?
The world has been weird.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, started at COVID and it's been kind of weird ever since. And I think, you know, we've learned a lot and about ourselves and kind of what to appreciate and what things really matter. And do you have a boyfriend?
I don't. I'm kind of just like enjoying being 24 and I don't know. I think I've learned that I am such a romantic. Like I tend to jump into things super quickly.
Me too. I fall in love with people so fast.
Like overnight.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of been my downfall in a lot of relationships because I fell in love with this idea of them that I had in my mind. And I really just was looking for validation. Like it wasn't about what I needed or what I was looking for. It was more about like, I just want to be wanted. Like love me.
Well, you're an empath and I can see that you're a great person. So you probably immediately want to see that person is great also.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I assume the best in people.
Yes.
And it's funny that you say that because I think that's a side of myself that I lost touch with for so long because I was let down a lot and people broke my trust and that hurts. And I think it goes deeper than you even realize sometimes.
Right.
And I kind of had shut off a lot of feelings just because I was like, you know what? It's not worth it. Like I'd rather just be a little bit numb and not have to deal with all of this. And I don't need anybody. Like I'm good. But I think I've realized that you can't just shut off one emotion. Like you kind of just lose touch with yourself. And if you are that way, if you're like an optimist and you have that like just positive romantic side in you, like the only way to live is to live fully and like feel everything deeply, learn lessons, but don't close yourself off because
you're so right.
You know, you just kind of like lose that light. And a lot of writing this next chapter has been finding that girl again and like getting back to that.
That's awesome. I agree with everything you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I heard one of your songs on the way in I hadn't heard before, I'm Broke. And that like hit home for me in a real way because you're kind of talking about generational like trauma there. And
divorce and how it hurts the whole family.
Yeah. You know, it's a lot. And I respect so much just songs that talk about real shit because that's like, That's what the world needs, I think.
Well, yeah. And that's kind of a true song.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on my way to a write, 2 people I'd never met before.
Yeah.
And I stopped to get gas and I called my daughter, Olivia, who's a singer also and writer. And I was like, is this dumb or whatever? And I just thought of, she hurt you, you hurt me, we hurt all of them in one fell sweep. Like, because divorce isn't just, the 2 of you. I mean, it hurts so many people.
Yeah.
And, nobody's heart gets out unbroke when there's divorce. But then I ended up naming the album Unbroke because God saved our marriage and God kept our family together. And now we all are unbroke.
Wow. That's so beautiful.
It is. I mean, I'm
it's
grateful.
So deep. That's so beautiful. But yeah, like, I think I just have so much respect for taking it by the reins and not just letting life happen to you, but going like, what can I do with like this experience and how can I grow and like learn through it? Because I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason.
Me too.
Like I wouldn't change a damn thing about my past. I wouldn't go back and like not date those guys and not make those mistakes because it's made me the version of myself that I am now.
Absolutely.
And, like you can help heal other people like through those stories and just being honest and sharing it. So I love that.
And that's what I love so much about music.
Yeah.
Because it's, music is a gift from God.
Yep.
And it is magical because there's no end to the number of songs that can be written and the number of things that can be said to change someone's life,
true.
or even to change your own life.
So true.
But
it's a gift, man.
you are a wonderful person. I've so enjoyed this conversation.
You. Back at you, girl.
Thank you.
Back at you. And I'm really serious. Like we should get a bus, like, and figure this out.
Get a bus.
Your girl needs some help.
Yeah. No. I'm. Believe me, it's infuriating. Honestly, it is because I don't think they need to charge that much. But what do I know?
Yeah.
What do I know?
Also, I want to meet the horses because I grew up riding. So
did you?
I did. Yeah. It's like one of my first loves. I know we kind of like glazed over that, but
anytime.
I love it.
Well, you're the same. I mean, my son's 25 and my girls are 21 and 20. So you've got to meet them.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
I mean, we all need as many friends as we can get in this town, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the
Thanks
podcast.
For having
I really,
me.
really appreciate it.
This was so much fun.
Thank you.